First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for all of the feedback that I got from the last video. I was not expecting that. My first ever videos usually got 15, 20 views. Not that views actually matter. What mattered more to me were the comments, was the feedback I was getting. I got from people all around the globe, from America, from England, from Romania. I saw a comment from there. All just really encouraging and helpful feedback. I really appreciate you. And thank you for your support, for showing your support to me. It encourages me. It fills me with a lot more excitement to see what way the world is headed, especially when people like you speak up, and just seeing what God will use with the channel. So I really appreciate you, first of all. I'm going to do this video as a follow-up to my last one. I'm going to say, Christians, it's time to no longer be silent. It's time to speak up, especially people in my generation. I'm going to take you to last week. Last week, found out Charlie Kirk was shot. And like I said in my last video, it was a very sad time for me and a very angry time for me, because I heard all these people saying negative things about him. I heard all these people defaming his name, making jokes about the way he died even. And it just filled me with anger. I'm gonna have to be honest, I let the sun go down on my anger. And I was ready to fight. I was ready to proclaim war on these people, you know? And I had to catch myself, because as Christians, we're called to be gracious and to show Christ's love. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean point out error. Truth in love is showing the truth, is showing the right way to go, is pointing out error. That's what we're meant to do as Christians. But we're also meant to fight the principalities and the powers of the air. And I believe that as a whole, there was a principality and there was a power that was celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, and that was what we fought. And I saw all of these young guys at my school that were getting really upset about what was being said. And they were saying, man, someone needs to report them. Or man, someone needs to tell everyone that they shouldn't be saying that. And I said, okay, why don't you go and tell them they can't say that anymore? Or why don't you go to the dean of students and say what's being said? They go, oh no, that's not for me. That's not my kind of thing. Well, guess what? If you are not doing that, then no one's going to do it. Responsibility and change starts with the individual. That was a value we got from Charlie Kirk. That's a value we get from the Bible. I'm actually going to read something from the Bible. This is 1 Kings. This is Elijah talking to the men of Israel. Now, I think our culture is in this place where for so long, especially young men, people my age to in their 20s, have not committed. What does that mean? Well, that means that they thought that they can be, on one hand, pretend to be a Christian in one place, say the things of God, say what's right and say what's wrong. On the other hand, live a secret life of sin, or say things on social media, or say stupid things with their friends, and be unafraid to, or be afraid to speak out against evil. That is what situation people my age have been in for a long time, especially guys, for about, 20 plus years. You know, some of you older people in the audience, you can testify. Some of the past generations are cowards, you know, completely afraid to speak up against evil. Well, this was exactly like the men of Israel in their time. This was the time of Ahab and Jezebel, and the time with the prophets of Bal. And the men of Israel, they said, I can worship God on one hand because I know he's the true God, and I know that he's the way, the truth, and the life, and I know that he's the only way to get to heaven. But I'm also going to worship Baal on one hand. I'm also going to not speak up against Baal because I know that Jezebel will get me killed. So they were cowards, they were living a double life, and they were afraid to speak up. Well, this is what Elijah says to them. He says, how long will you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people did not answer him a word. So if you are familiar with that story, this is what happens. The prophets of Baal, they give it their all. They sacrifice many animals. They put it on an altar. They spend a lot of time trying to get Baal to answer to them, to appease their cries. And there's no answer because Baal is a false god. And Elijah, he does something people would never expect. On a burnt offering, he pours water, so much water over it, liters and liters over it, and says that you guys don't realize my God is the true God. Even in this situation, he will set it ablaze. And God brings fire down from heaven, and the men of Israel put the prophets of Baal to death. Now, I think that we can take that, we have to be careful about these things, but I think that we can see some parallels with that and what's happening now. For example, a seemingly desperate and terrible situation of a dear Christian brother being killed, God has used to spark up a fire in people that we could never have imagined, even in myself. And God has used that to embolden people. And we look at that situation and we see all it took was one catalyst moment for the men of Israel to commit. And that is exactly what you and I need to do starting today. When we're in school, if we hear people speaking bad about the name of God and his people, we need to speak out against that. If we see an opportunity to spread the gospel, to spread the good news that Jesus Christ died and he came to save sinners and he's risen and he's coming again for all of his people, then we need to take that opportunity to say that. We need to be unafraid. We cannot be silenced. We have to keep spreading the gospel. Why? Why wouldn't we be silent? Why wouldn't we go on both sides? That's a valid question if you don't look into it, right? Why can't I, and there's been times where I've done this, why can't I say on one hand I'm a Christian and live a whole different life? With these people, I'll act super godly. With these people, I'll just do whatever the heck I want. Why not? I'll tell you why. The truth that Jesus is coming back. That should give us an urgency to think that right now, right here, Jesus Christ could be coming back. I heard somewhere that's one of the main motivations not to go to sin or to open up habitual sins, because you just think today could be the day that Jesus comes back and he's going to catch me in muck, right? Or if you're in a bad conversation, or if you're being complacent about people talking bad about the name of Christ and his people, and you're caught being complacent about it and Christ comes back. That's not a good place to be. But also on the other hand, it gives us an urgency to talk to people, to spread the good news, to spread the truth, because Jesus is coming back. And guess what? Everyone's going to be under judgment. And if you're not under the name of Christ, if you're not in his book, then you're in a lot of trouble. I heard something Penn. He's a famous atheist. He was part of a comedy, a magic trick show called Penn and Teller. And recently on an interview, he said, how much hate do you have to be filled with if you believe that there's a hell and you're not telling everyone about it? It's a valid question. It's because we're cowards, just like the men of Israel in that time. We have become cowards and we're afraid to speak out against evil. But if we truly believe in a hell, if we truly believe in the truth, if we truly believe that Jesus is coming back, then we should be motivated enough to speak out against it. And now you say to yourself, but I am a Christian. You say, I do believe all of these things, but I'm just too afraid to speak about it and I just keep it inside. Well, this is from Jeremiah. It says, if I say I will not mention him or speak anymore in his name, there is in my heart a burning fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in and I cannot. So I challenge you, I'd say, if you are truly redeemed and bought with a price by Jesus Christ, then you're going to talk about him. The fruits are going to be displayed. If you truly are seeing change in your life, then you're going to talk about it. So that's a rant right there. I challenge you to no longer be silent about the gospel and about the truth. It starts with you. It starts with me. Don't wait for someone else to speak up. Speak up yourself. Stop being a coward and start spreading the truth, because Jesus is coming back and he's given us a task, and that is to go and make disciples of all nations. Stop wasting your time.